All right. Number one on our in-class review of statistics and probability. In the 1981 study, analgesic responses to morphine and placebo in individuals with postoperative pain found that patients told they were receiving a strong painkiller while actually receiving a saltwater injection found as much pain relief as patients receiving a dose of morphine. Okay, so when we describe the population, we're describing what the study is supposed to represent. So the study is representing individuals with post-operative pain. I just got that directly from the paragraph right here. Change the color here. So, individuals with post-operative pain, right? So that's what we would consider the population. The study is supposed to represent anyone in that situation, right? Now, the actual people that were studied is called the sample. So the sample is the patients that were in the study. So patients that either had a morphine injection or a saltwater injection but didn't know which one was which, those that were actually studied for what their pain did after they received the injection, right? I know I had some people saying they don't understand the difference between a population and a sample. Do you need more examples? Like, let's say we wanted to know something about the entire student body of Kearns High School, and so we just went around and pulled one student out of every class. What's the population? Yes, the whole school would be the population. What's the sample? The one student we choose from every class to answer the question or whatever we're doing, right? So population is the entire group that we are trying to represent, but usually that is too large to actually survey everyone. If we can survey every member of our population, or we can figure out some sort of information about the entire population. Like, for example, we have all of your records, right? So if there was something we wanted to know about all of our students, like what percentage of our student body are seniors, then we would just go to our records and find that information, and it would be from the population, right? When that happens, we call that a parameter. When we actually are studying it, like get a result that's from everybody in the population, it's a parameter. But if we just do a sample, like we randomly choose 100 students in the school and figure out how many of those are seniors, that's called a statistic, and that would be a sample of the population. So a statistic is where you do a sample of the population to represent the population. A parameter is where you have information about the entire population just because you are able to ask everyone, or you have that information for everyone. Okay, the placebo. Placebo is something that is representing the treatment but is not the treatment, so that patients don't know whether they're getting the treatment or not. So in this placebo, it's the salt water injection. So our bodies have a lot of salt in them, and salt is something we eat and stuff like that. So a salt water injection should not change anything about how we're feeling, especially just like a little shot, right? It shouldn't change a thing, just a salt water injection without any painkiller in it. So any patients that felt pain relief after getting a saltwater injection, it was because they thought they were getting pain reliever, and it was their brains relieving the pain, not the injection. So that's called a placebo. The placebo effect in this, in the little description, it says they found patients that they were receiving a strong painkiller while actually receiving a saltwater injection. They found as much pain relief as patients receiving morphine. So what was the result of the placebo? Yeah, they still had pain relief, right? So that's the placebo effect, is the pain relief. Okay, so the treatment group. Now this is where I've had some questions on understanding the difference between control group and treatment group, and feeling like it didn't correspond to what you do in a science experiment. It's been too long since I've been in a science class and using those actual words. Experiment. I know we still need to get to question 4 on this. I understand that that's important. Let's see. So when you do scientific method, you make an observation, you ask a question, you form a hypothesis, you make a prediction based on the hypothesis, you test the prediction, and you use the results to make new hypotheses or more predictions. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's something that will talk about the different things, like you do something to something. Help me think of an example in a science class that would apply to this. Oh, good. Okay. The treatment group would be those getting the... Oh, my computer's gonna freeze up now. Those getting the morphine. Oh, look. It's totally weirding out. Let me delete you. Little thing that I didn't want there. Delete. Weird. Technology is weird. Okay, so those getting the morphine injection. So a treatment. When someone has cancer and they are treated with chemotherapy, they're getting a treatment. They're being treated for it. They're getting something besides just their body fighting it, right? So the treatment is the morphine injection. The control group is so that we have a comparison to people that are not getting the morphine injection. That's what a control group is in a science experiment, where you have the experimental part and the control part, where you compare it to what would normally be happening without whatever you're trying to experiment. So the control group is those getting the saltwater injection, because that's no different than normal. Their bodies have salt in them, you know? That's just to help us understand if the morphine itself is actually doing any good, or if it's the power of our brains and positivity and our thoughts and being able to think about that we are think we're getting better. There's a power to that in healing, and thinking that you are, and thinking that you've got what you need to feel better. There's lots of studies showing, yes, painkillers work, but your mental state also works. So, okay. So do we know if this is single blind or double blind? No, we don't. It's definitely at least blind, because the patients don't know, right? At the very least, it is blind. Because patients don't know which group they are in. But we don't know if it's double blind. We don't know if the people administering it also know or don't know who's getting it. So why won't it let me move that? There we go. Okay,